Hello, welcome to the November edition of Purpose, Profit, Power Leadership webinar. So here with me is Angela Teller. She's a mentor and a um, business strategist to women in business who have lost themselves in their entrepreneurial pursuits. She helps them to reclaim their personal identity, joy, and personal equilibrium so they can conquer new levels of success without sacrificing what they love most. With over 16 years as a business owner, she intimately grasped the many challenges faced by women striving to realize their dreams and fulfill their life's purpose. Angela firmly believes that the pursuit of purpose should not be at the cost of our physical, emotional, and spiritual health and well being, nor should it jeopardize our relationships with the people that matter. Over the years, she has supported numerous women, helping them to successfully navigate challenges in both their professional ventures and personal lives, drawing upon our own life the entrepreneurial experiences, the triumphs and setbacks, and everything in between. Angela's passion for supporting women has led her to create a number of mentorship programs designed to help women become the best version of themselves and guide them towards the success they desire. She holds a degree in human nutrition and dietetics from King's College, London, and is certified in women's entrepreneurship by Cornell University, USA. Angela is a guest lecturer on entrepreneurship at Coventry University, UK, and served as the chair of an award winning professional network of 400 entrepreneurs, which grew under her leadership. She is a founding partner at Leadership Matters, a leadership development organization where she is responsible for its mentorship program. Angela also serves as resident mentor at a number of global networks for female leaders, career-driven women professionals, and female founders. Her accolades include Innovator of the Year by the Distinguished British Female Innovators and Innovators Network. Furthermore, her business was one of three finalists shortlisted from over 300 businesses for an innovation award at the Harvard Business Awards. Angela loves to spend time with her family and husband of over 24 years and enjoys sewing, interior design, reading, and travel in her spare time. So today she's going to be taking us on an amazing section. We appreciate you so much for honoring our invitation. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you. So, she's going to be taking us on cultivating a culture of mindfulness and well-being in workspace for effective leadership. So, we want you to come up and talk to us.
Yeah, thank you very much for that warm welcome, Taiwo. It's good to be here, and I'm not going to take any more time. We're just going to quickly jump in and get things started. Okay, so I'm just going to share some
Yeah.
slides. Okay, just trying to get my slides into the show. Right, there we go.
All right, so I'll be leaving the stage for you. Just do your thing.
That's fine. Thank you.
All right.
So today I'm going to be sharing on cultivating a culture of mindfulness and well-being in the workplace for effective leadership. Okay, so like Taiwo has already mentioned, my name is Angela Teller. I am a strategic mentor and a speaker. I'm a coach, certified coach, and I am based in the UK. Now, what I do is I help female entrepreneurs and career-driven women. I help them to unlock their potential, enabling them to step into their next level. Now, the whole point of doing this is to enable them to maximize their success from the inside out. Okay? Now, my background spans well over 20 years in the health and wellness industry, and I've been an entrepreneur for well over 17 years. Like Taiwo said, I am certified in women's entrepreneurship by Cornell University, and I also guest lecture on entrepreneurship at Coventry University here in the UK. I'm a resident mentor at a number of global networks for professional women, career-driven women, and leaders, female founders. And I also am part of the Leadership Matters Institute. I'm a founding partner there, and I am in charge of the mentorship program. Okay. And like she said, I've had a number of accolades. One of them includes being named Innovator of the Year. So today we're going to be looking at, like Taiwo's already mentioned, we're going to be looking at cultivating mindfulness and well-being as a means of creating effective leadership within the workspace or the workplace. And so we're going to start off with the concepts of mindfulness and well-being. We'll also look at the benefits and the impact of mindfulness and well-being on our leadership. And then I'm going to discuss a few practical strategies that we can use to cultivate mindfulness and well-being, and then we'll have time for Q&A. So I'm going to start off with that all-important term, leadership. So what is leadership? I had to look at the dictionary, and it defines leadership as the ability to inspire, to influence, and guide others towards achieving common goals. Okay, so that's a very basic and simplified term of leadership. In fact, one of my mentors defines leadership in 3 words, and he says it's leadership is about impact, it's about influence, it's about inspiring others. Okay. But one thing that I really want to get across to us tonight is that leadership always starts with leading yourself. Okay. If you cannot lead yourself, then you have no business leading others. Very, very important, because you cannot give what you don't have. And so as leaders, it's very much on us to look at how to elevate our leadership. And one of the ways that we can do this is by embracing mindfulness and well-being, okay, as part of growing ourselves and elevating ourselves as leaders. So what is mindfulness? Mindfulness really is about being intentionally aware, intentionally present, and fully engaged in a moment. Okay. It also encompasses us being aware not just of ourselves, but also of other people. And then with the concept of well-being, well-being is holistic, it is multidimensional in nature, and it covers our overall health, our physical health, our mental health, and our emotional health. Okay, so why are these things important to us as leaders? So I'm going to share a few of the benefits of mindfulness and well-being. Okay, so mindfulness, and I must say that what I'm sharing is based on the research that is out there. Okay. So mindfulness has been shown to reduce stress levels. It's been shown to reduce anxiety, depression. Okay, and if you think about it, it also lowers your blood pressure. And the really important part or reason why this matters is because, you see, when you're mindful, when you're fully present, fully engaged, okay, you're not just here in body and your mind is somewhere else. You're able to focus. And you find that when you're more focused, you're less distracted, you're less stressed out, nothing else is pulling on you. So you're able to focus on what is in front of you. Okay. And what happens is that obviously lowers the pressure on you. And when pressure is lowered, then your levels of anxiety are lower because you're calmer, you're available to deal with what is in front of you. Okay. Once again, your blood pressure, because that, a raised blood pressure would be your body's physical response, okay, to pressure. Okay. And so when you're mindful, or when you embrace mindfulness, you find that you are able to sleep better, okay, because you're focused, you're calmer. Now, the research also shows us that embracing mindfulness helps to boost your immune function. And your immune function is your body's defense system, helps you to keep illness at bay. Okay. So mindfulness has all these benefits. And as I've said already, when you're mindful, you're aware, you're fully present, you're able to focus. And as leaders, we need to be able to focus. Okay. We live in a world that is very, very distracting. Okay. And so a key skill that we should have as leaders is the ability to focus. Because when we're focused, we're able to have clarity. Okay. And when we have focus and clarity, that enhances our ability to make decisions. Okay, so very, very important. Now, in terms of well-being, what the research out there shows is that when a person is in a better state of well-being, their levels of job satisfaction are higher, they experience increased morale, they have a better ability to deal with on the job tasks, so the day-to-day things, tasks that need to be dealt with, they're better equipped to handle those things. And very, very importantly, you find that when you have better well-being, you experience better work-life equilibrium. Okay? And that's really important because we are not made to just, our life's purpose is not to work. That is just one aspect of our life. So we should be able to balance those things. And for us to handle or get a better grip of what I call work-life equilibrium, we need to be in the right frame of mind. We need to be in a good state of well-being in order to handle that better. And what the research shows is that a person with uh, better work-life balance and better work-life equilibrium is better positioned to be more productive. Okay. And as a leader or someone maybe in the business space, if you have your own business, you're an entrepreneur, and in fact, any organization, productivity is a key goal that we need to have. Okay. So here are just a few benefits of mindfulness and well-being. Okay. So what impact does this have on our leadership? And that's a really important question to answer because I know that the overarching theme of this tonight's webinar centers around purpose, profitability, and power. Okay, so how do mindfulness and well-being impact on leadership with regards to purpose, profit, and power? So the first thing that I want to share with you and put across to you is that you see, when you embrace mindfulness and well-being as a leader, it actually helps to make your leadership more purpose-driven. And I say that because when you're a mindful leader, you're able to stay true to your values, you're able to stay true to your mission. Okay. And that in itself is, with your values, your mission, that has to do with your purpose, whether as an individual or as part of a team or as, the leader of an organization. Okay. And it's also important because you see, when you embrace mindfulness, remember we talked about the fact that mindfulness has to do with intentionality. It has to do with an awareness, not just of yourself, but an awareness of others. And so that can inspire and motivate you as a leader to look at the tasks that you're doing on a day-to-day basis. You look at them in view of the bigger picture. Okay. And that's what happens when you take a purpose-driven approach to leadership. You look at how your day-to-day tasks and activities, how they kind of all work together or funnel together into your larger purpose. Okay, so that's really important. Now, the second thing is in terms of profitability. I talk about profitability through self-care. So when we embrace being mindful, when we embrace well-being or prioritizing well-being, I always say to the clients that I work with that, you know what, that we are our greatest asset. Okay. And so from a business perspective, when we look at it, when we make investments, we always expect, if we're going to invest in our business or make any other investment, we always expect to get a good return on our investment. Okay. And so if we are our greatest asset, then it kind of then brings us to the conclusion that investing in ourselves is not an option. It's a must. Okay. And when I'm talking about investing in ourselves, I'm not just talking about from a personal development point of view, like I've said already, through self-care, making sure that we are doing what we need to do as leaders, as entrepreneurs, as career professionals, to make sure that we are profitable ourselves. Okay, because this will then, you know, if we look after ourselves by investing in ourselves, it always show up, the effects always show up in our business, in our career. Okay. And then the final thing is that word regarding power. So when we embrace mindfulness and well-being as leaders, what that does is it actually enables us to empower others, but we do it in a responsible way. Okay. If we recall what I said at the beginning, that leadership is about influence. So we're able to influence others, we're able to influence our team members, we're able to influence our employees in a way that empowers them. Okay, we don't abuse the power that we have. Rather, we wield it in a wise way. We steward it in a wise way, in a way that empowers others, that inspires them, that causes them to grow. Okay, and then when we're mindful, or rather, when we're mindful leaders, we find that we're able to better navigate the very complex interpersonal dynamics that often come in the workplace. Okay, one of my mentors, John Maxwell, he always says that I mean, I'll rewind. We have this saying that uh, leaders are readers. Okay, but one of my mentors said this, John Maxwell. He then said that what, that leaders don't only read books, they read situations, they read people, they read their resources. So what does it mean to read? You're able to read a room. Okay, and this brings us back to that whole concept of mindfulness, being able to be aware of what is going on. Okay, so those are some of the ways that mindfulness and well-being impact on our leadership. And so, how do we cultivate mindfulness? How do we cultivate well being? It's one thing to know the theory of something, it's another thing to then put it into practice. So, I'm going to share 6 practical strategies that I use and that I encourage the clients that I work with, the leaders and entrepreneurs that I work with, to practice as a way for them to, or for us to cultivate mindfulness and to cultivate and embrace well-being. Okay, so when we're looking at mindfulness, one key strategy that I recommend and that has been, really good for me has been the practice of solitude. We live in a world that is kind of almost 24/7, and if we're not careful, it's very easy to get so caught up in doing, and we forget that we are not human doings, we are human beings. And so I find that the practice of solitude helps me to just be. And one thing that I have discovered is that my being should feed my doing. Because when I'm practicing solitude, I'm able to step back, to reflect, to assess, to evaluate. And that helps me then to plan next steps. Okay, so solitude is something that I believe that every leader should have because we need time to think. We live in a world that doesn't necessarily promote or encourage you to stop and think. So solitude will help you to do that. So if it's something you haven't been doing, I strongly encourage you to start doing that. The other thing also is to develop what I call active listening skills. I mean, active listening skills are it's very easy for us to hear what somebody is saying, but then we're not necessarily listening. And active listening skills. I mean, I mentioned at the beginning that my background is in the health and well-being industry, where I was for a good number of years before I moved over into the entrepreneurial space. And one thing I must say was that that was where my active listening skills were honed. I had the opportunity to learn to read between the lines. I had the opportunity to um, get better at assessing nonverbal communication, because it's one thing for someone to say something, it's another thing for their body language to say something else. And so this is why I was saying that as good leaders, if we're great leaders, actually, we should be able to read people, read the room, read what's going on, read between the lines. Okay. So active listening skills are a very key way for us to develop our mindfulness. Okay, and to embrace it. The last thing I want to mention regarding mindfulness is the practice of journaling. Now, I have been journaling daily for well over 30 years, and it's been a very, it's been a game changer for me, I must say, both professionally and personally. And what I found is that journaling gives me the opportunity to reflect, the opportunity to engage with my thoughts, and to, it's been a real, um, a great tool to help to plan next steps, to help to evaluate, to help to look back and review. And so it's something that I definitely encourage. It's also a great way to practice gratitude, and, it's very easy to always find things that are not working. Whereas when we take the time to reflect and consider, we find that there are many things that we have to be thankful for. And that, I mean, this can be very, very helpful, particularly when we're going through a very challenging time, maybe in the business, or we're going through a season of that is very intense and demanding. And so moving over to well-being, one of my key tips is to prioritize your exercise, nutrition, and sleep. And these three will definitely have an impact on you and your well being in terms of, I find that as leaders, entrepreneurs, career driven professionals, it's very easy, whether we're established or aspiring to be these things, it's very, very easy for these key areas to kind of take a backseat. So, for instance, when you're building a business from scratch, it can be very, very demanding. When we are going through maybe, like I said, intense seasons in our lives, in our businesses, I find that these, exercise, nutrition, sleep, they tend to be put on the back burner or not be prioritized. And yet we do ourselves a disservice. And so it's really important that we make the time and the space to prioritize making sure that we're getting enough sleep, making sure that we are well hydrated, we're drinking enough, making sure that we are exercising. For instance, exercise is a way to relieve stress, because it then it enables the body to produce what we call, what I know as endorphins, the feel good factor that make you feel better. And it actually helps to promote better sleep. Okay. And then very, very key, mental health is one of those buzz phrases that is bandied about everywhere. And so in terms of cultivating our well-being, making time and deliberately, intentionally addressing sources of stress and anxiety in our lives is very, very key. And this kind of feeds back into some of the things I said earlier regarding solitude, journaling, active listening, making sure that maybe we have people that we can speak with, and in confidence when we're going through difficult times, pressure times, because there's this saying that a problem shared is a problem halved. Just getting things off your chest can help to reduce anxiety levels, help to reduce your stress, and also looking at, in terms of addressing stress and anxiety, perhaps learning to delegate. If you're a typical type A person, you always want to be in control, that might be difficult, but that might be one strategy that you could use to reduce the levels of stress and anxiety in your life. And then the final thing I want to talk about is we need to, as great leaders, develop our resilience muscle. Adverse times come to everybody. As long as you're on the face of this earth, that is just the way things are. And so we cannot avoid difficulties and challenges. The key thing then is we need to be equipped to handle these things. And how do we do that? We do that by staying in community. Okay, I always say that if you're going to remain sharp, as a leader, if you're going to remain sharp as an entrepreneur or as a career professional, you're going to have to make sure that you are in a community that sharpens you. You know, I'm a full strong believer in iron sharpening iron. And so we need to choose our community with care, because these are the people who will help us when we're kind of in a difficult position, people that we can lean on. And additionally, we need to, in ourselves, be aware that if we look back at the challenges we've already overcome, I find that every challenge we go through actually enables us and prepares us to take on the next challenge. And so developing resilience is just, it's also about a mindset. Okay, so maybe there might need to be some mindset shifts where we begin to realize that we are able to cope with the difficulties. Because what is resilience? Resilience really is about your capacity or ability to bounce back after a setback, after an adverse situation. And one thing that I have found is that with resilience, it's cultivated in day to day life. And this is why I was saying that any challenges you've had in the past have already helped you to begin to develop your resilience muscle. Okay. And another thing about resilience is that we need to be flexible. Okay. We need to be flexible and adaptable as we go through these things. So those are some of the strategies that I want to share with you in light of our discussion tonight. So what's next? Okay, so I've talked a lot about, I've discussed what leadership is. I've talked about how we can elevate our leadership. I've talked about the benefits of mindfulness and embracing mindfulness and well-being. And I've also talked about the impact that these things can have and how to practically cultivate it. So because of what I do, like I said at the beginning, I work with aspiring and established female entrepreneurs, business owners, leaders. And so I found that being able to become that leader, become that entrepreneur, become that career professional that you want to be takes a bit of work. Okay. And so I'm going to actually share something that I'm going to be working on shortly. And it's something that I think would um, benefit you if you are an aspiring or established leader, entrepreneur, or career professional who, like I said, you want to elevate your leadership. You want to, because I find that a lot of us we feel that pull towards more, but we're not quite sure how to go about it. And so I'm going to be sharing this. This is a challenge that I will be hosting in a few weeks' time. And it's all about helping you to gain maximum clarity. Yeah, maximum clarity in 7 days. And it's for ladies, specifically for the ladies. Sorry, guys, but this is specifically for the ladies. Ladies who feel the pull towards more in their life, their leadership, their business, their career. And what this challenge is designed to do is to help you to gain maximum clarity on what you need to do to finish 2024 strong and step into your next level and show up in 2025 with all the brilliance and impact that you're capable of. And I'm doing this free because I think it's something that I know will benefit a lot of people. Okay. And so there's a QR code. I'm not sure if you can scan it, but if you can, all well and good. Otherwise, I'll get this. I'll probably pass this on to Esther to share with you. And yeah, but feel free. You can register. Like I said, it's free, and it's all about helping you to elevate your leadership, particularly your business, your career, your life, because these are some of the things that we have talked about tonight. Okay. And that brings me to the end of today's webinar, workshop, discussion, and I look forward to answering any questions if there are any. Yeah. Thank you.
How can leaders help employees manage stress at work?
Okay, so
Hear
in
me?
terms of managing stress, one very key thing is for leaders in the workplace to perhaps maybe ensure that stress management is something that is incorporated into policy by the organization. Okay. It would involve things like looking at ways to help, because stress is a normal part of life. Okay. It's just how we handle it that matters. And obviously, we don't want to be in a situation where we have stress that is just constantly on and on. Okay. So the key thing is, first of all, the organization needs to see that stress management is something to be prioritized, and then look at ways to incorporate stress management strategies within the company policy. Okay. Can you
Okay.
still hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. For example, it could entail, like I
Yeah, I can
mentioned,
hear you.
policy. It would entail policy. Okay. So, for instance, working, you have occupational health and human resources working together to come up with policy that will then influence how um, the company will provide well-being support for its staff, and obviously stress management will sit well underneath or well within that policy. Okay, you're back again.
Yeah, I'm back again. Sorry for the network issue.
That's okay. That's fine. We keep going forward. Okay. Next
Okay.
question.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, let's move on to the next question. So I'm going to ask 3 questions at a time since we don't really have much time. Asking 2 questions at a time. How can mindfulness improve? I said, how can mindfulness improve communication among team members? And the second question is, how can mindfulness help leaders make a better decision?
Okay. So for the first question, in terms of improving communication, remember I said, when I was speaking earlier, I talked about the fact that with regards to mindfulness, what it does is it helps you to be more intentional. It helps you to be more aware. Sometimes you're having a conversation with somebody, they say something, but in your mind, you're already thinking about what you're going to say. And so you're not listening to what they're saying. So the way mindfulness would help in that situation would be for you to practice what I said, which was active listening skills. You practice active listening skills. You listen to what the person is saying. You choose to be fully present and to fully engage with them. And when they finish saying what they're saying, you repeat to them and say, is this what you said? Because this is what I heard. And then they will let you know whether or not you were listening. Okay. And then when they confirm that yes, what you have said back to them is exactly what they said, then you are able to spend time then formulating your own answer or response to what they said to you. Okay, so that's the first one. Now, the second question, if I recall, you asked what was the second question again? How does mindfulness, what was the second question?
Okay, the second question, yeah, how can mindfulness help leaders make better decisions?
Okay, so it helps you make better decisions as a leader, because remember what we said mindfulness was. Mindfulness is about intentionally choosing to be aware, not just of yourself, but also others, and choosing to fully engage in the moment. So, how mindfulness helps you is that when a person is talking with you, you're having communication, you're not just sitting there and your mind is elsewhere. You are fully present. For instance, I'm here with you, we're having a conversation. I had to listen to you to understand what the question was in order for me to answer it. So I would say that I was practicing mindfulness. I wasn't here sitting thinking, right, what am I going to say? No, I wanted to know for sure what exactly you had said or wanted to ask me. Okay. I think we've lost you, but you're back.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, we want to hear your final advice for the audience. Let's hear your final advice concerning mindfulness and general well-being.
Okay, so my final thoughts on the whole idea regarding mindfulness and well being is this, that look, as great leaders, because we've been discussing leadership, whether it's self leadership, so leading ourselves, which we need to do in order to lead others, whether it's leading a team, whether it's leading a business, whether it's leading an organization of some sort. My final words would be on, from a mindfulness and well-being point of view, is that
I
we
think
need
it is
to,
now that you should make.
as great leaders, we need to embrace mindfulness. We need to embrace well-being and see them as ways that we can elevate our leadership. And, that will help us to be more effective as leaders in whatever sphere that we find ourselves. So whether it's leading ourselves, whether it's leading our business, an organization, or a team. Okay. So that's my summary. And very importantly, everything that has been said today, it's one thing to hear something, it's another thing to apply it. We only experience change and transformation when we apply what we know. So that would be it. To go out there and apply what we know. Everything we've heard today, make sure that at the end of this, you're going to spend some time creating an action plan. What's the one thing or the two things that I will implement today going forward in order to make a difference in my life? Okay.